Should you bother with Linux? Yes! These are the reasons you can't afford to ignore Linux from the perspective of an IT professional. Welcome back to the Pro Tech Show. Let me set my stall out up front. I'm not a Linux fanboy, I'm not a Windows fanboy. I'm a right tool for the job guy. As such, my reasons may vary a little from the usual fanatical ranting you'll hear on the internet. For example, I'm not going to tell you Linux is more secure than Windows, because the security of your system has very little to do with what operating system you're running, and much more to do with how well you're maintaining it. I'm going to give you 5 reasons you need to care about Linux from the perspective of an IT professional, and one bonus reason that's more for fun. Number 1. Everything uses Linux. Okay, not everything, but close enough. Look around your network. Every little box with a power cord that isn't a Windows PC is probably running Linux. If you've got an Android phone in your pocket, that's a Linux computer. Heck, even your washing machine could be running Linux. As an IT professional, you don't just have to look after Windows PCs. There are lots of random network devices and appliances that make their way into your care. If you know Linux, then you will be much better placed to understand and troubleshoot those devices as well. They stop being mysterious black boxes and become just another Linux computer. If they're not Linux, they're probably some form of Unix-like platform like BSD, and because of their shared roots, learning the basics of Linux will make these seem much more familiar as well. Number 2. The cloud. Seriously, you've heard of the cloud, right? It's kind of a big deal. It's also built on Linux. Even Azure, Microsoft's own cloud platform, surely it's Windows Central? Actually, there is more Linux in Azure than there is Windows. Amazing, right? If you're an IT professional, then unless you plan to retire tomorrow, you're going to be using the cloud at some point. If you want to get serious about it, then you're going to need to look into automation, scripting, infrastructure as code. It's not that you can't do this with Windows, but if you look at all of the tools, they're usually built for Linux and then Windows gets tacked on as an afterthought. That's telling. If the cloud lies in your future and the cloud is mostly Linux, you probably ought to learn a little bit about Linux. Number 3. It's free! I'm not talking about your annual budgets, and I'm not making a total cost of ownership argument. People can argue that one in both directions, and the truth is there's no one-size-fits-all answer on which platform is cheaper to run overall. What I mean is there are absolutely no barriers to you just grabbing any kind of platform or software you want and having a play with it. If you want to learn something, you can. If you want to build something, you can. There's no accountant to stop you, no time-limited evaluation, it's just free. That doesn't mean you should just install random software in production, of course not. But there is nothing artificially holding you back in terms of personal development or innovation. If you want to learn about automation, crack on. Responsibly, in a lab or at home, there's no reason not to. There's also no reason not to like this video and subscribe because that's also free. Number 4. The edge case. Microsoft make a lot of software, and whilst they're not immune to the occasional dumb idea, they do a pretty good job of covering 99% of standard business use cases. But what about the 1%? With proprietary software, unless there's a big enough market for a feature, it's just not worth their time building it. So if you need something that's a little off the beaten track, you might be out of luck. With open source, there's a good chance someone else has had a go at it. Not necessarily because there's a market for it, but because they just wanted to solve the problem. Even if they haven't, you can probably find something that gets you about 80% of the way there, and because it's open source, you can modify it and extend it. With Windows, you work around its limitations. With Linux, it can work around you, allowing you to solve problems that would otherwise be difficult or impossible. Number 5. Nobody can just unilaterally decide to kill it. Linux belongs to the people. No corporate overlord can claim it as their own. Even Linus Torvalds can't just pick up his ball and go home, we've already got the source code. This makes Linux a highly resilient choice of platform to build on. It's not like I see Windows disappearing anytime soon, but what if you had built your product using Silverlight, or it relied on Staff Hub or Small Business Server? Sorry, your platform's dead. Contrast that with what happened with Red Hat and CentOS. Red Hat decided they no longer wanted to continue developing CentOS, so they chopped off its head. But like a mythical hydra, it grew 2 more in the form of Rocky and Alma Linux. I'm not saying that no open source software has ever died, but as long as someone still cares enough, any open source project is just a fork away from eternal life. Which is reassuring news if your business relies on it. Those are my 5 reasons that I think any IT professional needs to have some knowledge of Linux. Here's a 6th just for fun. Customization. Windows has some customization. There are third-party utilities to customize it further. But nothing comes close to the sheer amount of customization you have available with Linux. You can change your desktop wallpaper in Windows. You can change your entire desktop environment in Linux. Don't like GNOME? Try KDE. In some ways there's too much choice. I want my computer to have an IP address, sure. I don't particularly care which subsystem manages it, but yet there are choices. You don't have to get this deep into the weeds, of course. You can just pick a distro that works in a way that you like and use it as is. But if you like to tweak your system, Linux will let you get as granular as you like. Those are a few reasons that I think it's important to learn at least a little bit about Linux. But remember, right tool for the job. Sometimes Linux isn't the right tool, and that's why you should click on this video to learn about why you can't afford to ignore Microsoft either. Unless you're watching this video in the first 2 weeks, because I think I'm going to publish this video before the Windows one. I'll find something good to put here anyway though, so go ahead and check it out.